Good evening. How are you? This is John Flannery, and I'm indoors. This is a sit and talk because it was raining and dark by the time I got home from Baltimore today. But I couldn't allow the evening to go by without saying a few words about the man-child announcing for the presidency. I can't imagine a less deserving individual to be admitted or even considered for admission as our president, our chief executive, when he tried to tear down the government to steal an election he'd already lost resoundingly. But that's where we are. America's in a very difficult place. And this is a man who should, by his history, impeached twice, under investigation in multiple places. As I speak to you, his firm is engaged in a criminal trial, and his former CFO appears to be the principal witness in that trial. Now, you have to admit that when he said his comeback starts now, that this is a man out of touch with reality, delusional. But what gives him comfort? What gives him comfort is that the Just Us Department can't figure out that 2 years ago this man committed one of the most serious crimes in American history, by any standard, but particularly by the fact that he did it as the President of the United States, that he won his first election with the help of Russia and its lies and his lies, and he lost the second election because by that time the people knew him and would crawl over glass to see that he was not president again. Now, an important lesson has happened in the last several days. The voters have decided that they don't want that kind of leadership in their parties. But they don't trust us either, because they've evenly divided the House and the Senate almost to a fractional point, saying we are endorsing the paralysis of our governmental structure until somebody grows up and shows us the way. And I'm not just talking about Garland. I'm talking about other leaders who wring their hands but then don't act. Now, enough about us. How about the other side? The Senate and the House leadership in the Republican Party is trying to figure out how they go from here. And there are whispers that we didn't do this right. We didn't have the wave that we were going to have. And they didn't have the wave they were going to have because they lied. They scared the living daylights out of the public. But we hadn't assumed our role strong enough to give them the confidence to give us a mandate to go forward in either house, either the Senate or the House of Representatives. Now, we had the spectacle today of the minority leader in the House, McCarthy, fighting to hold on to his caucus so that he could become the speaker with what is anticipated to be a narrow margin of a couple of votes past the 218 that gives either party a majority. And he got through that exercise. And the real question is, can he, in a way, to borrow from the parliamentary system, can he form a government when it comes time to do that in January? We'll see. Over on the Senate side, there's a very interesting spectacle. We had McConnell, who's the minority leader, basically said the quality of the candidates for the Senate was under par, shall we say. And he pretty much left it at that. And he was proven to be correct. Now we have several Republicans in his caucus who are saying he should not be the leader because they lost the election that he predicted they would because of the quality of the persons they chose to run for office. And who are his opponents? Well, Scott, who would like to be president, Hawley, who would like to be president, and Cruz, who is so obnoxious, telling us how angry he is at what happened, as if there was any way to save intelligent people from making a choice, resoundingly defeating the Republicans. So that's what we have. We have delusions in the candidate for president. In fact, he may help us win Georgia and give us a little strengthened margin in the U.S. Senate. Right now, we have control, like we had in the last period of time before this interim election. So what can we look forward to? What we can look forward to is speaking the truth. That is pushing and pulling as we have to get to this point, as the people in America have done so, And I'm not just talking about Democrats. Plainly, Republicans and independents feel the same way. And that the only hope we have is that disagreeable Republicans, meaning those who disagree with our issues, will decide not to lie and to talk their issues, rise or fall, on the merits of their arguments, and we shall do the same. And it is possible we may govern again, but I don't see it in the near future. I don't see it before 2024. And it's a big mistake, it seems to me, for us to think that we can sit on our laurels because we avoided the death of democracy and the triumph of autocracy. It's not over. You can see that in both chambers that the leadership of the Republican Party is figuring they should double down. In fact, that's the argument they make against McConnell, that he didn't allow them to double down on the issues that caused the electorate to recoil. Some people don't learn. Unfortunately, we are the ones who have to suffer that. So I'm hopeful that the January 6th committee is going to do what it should do, which is to refer the matter for prosecution. I also think that they should consider a resolution to bar Trump from running for the presidency because he sought to overthrow the government, a remedy that is found in our U.S. Constitution that he has disagreed with, ignored, and treated like it was tissue paper, because he does not want to abide by the law. He wants to abide by fiat, his own, no matter who else thinks otherwise. And the proof of it is his announcement this evening, because the Republican leadership discouraged him from doing that because they would like to narrow the margin in the Senate and not help the Democratic contender win on December the 6th in the Georgia race for who will represent Georgia in the U.S. Senate. So those are a couple of thoughts I had. I probably share them with many of you. And what we have to do is to help keep our leaders honest. We have to talk to them frankly and tell them, like Garland, you're not doing your job, and tell others who talk a lot that they have to find a way to act. There's the notion among the existentialists that you are potentially nothing. Sartre said it expressly, that you are only what you've done. And by that standard, we have very many public leaders who haven't done very much at all. And that's why we're in this quandary, in this stalemate of ideology and of government, and why we're at risk in the Supreme Court and in all of our public organs. And if we do not understand that, we pass the opportunity to preserve and protect our republic. So that's all I have to say. I can't spin around in this chair as if I'm in the Cathedral of Trees, but imagine that I'm doing that. And have a good evening if you see it tonight, and otherwise I'm sure you can find me in the morning. All the best. Bye-bye.